Oi guys, Scrappy again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The CDL is back this evening, but some major drama popping off last night during the flag. One of the more entertaining episodes, no doubt, in recent memory, but Scrappy versus Ben going down during the show, and most certainly after the show as well. Octane was mind blown as this whole thing was happening. Very much enjoying your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, happy birthday to Dashy 25 today. Dashy also topping the ranks right now, which is pretty interesting, I thought, for the ice factor on the season, at least in terms of clutches on the season so far. Now this is always, I wouldn't say biased, but it's kind of skewed somewhat depending on which players are in certain roles. Like aBeZy, he's always the guy getting the first bloods, as is Shotzzy and Pred pretty much for OpTic, so he's not finding himself in many clutch situations actually to ice up. I always think the number of clutches is like a little bit misleading in terms of like how clutch a player is. I prefer like percentage situations clutched, but I feel like that's maybe a little bit more difficult to analyse. But nonetheless, Dashy has 10 clutches on the season, 5 1v1s, 4 1v2s and a 1v3. Insight, who is typically considered to be like the most clutch player, he's done 4 1v1s and 4 1v2s. Again, it tends to be players that find themselves last alive in these situations. Attach, Vikul and aBeZy are right up there. And Attach Owen finds himself last alive, right? He's actually been in 20 1v3 opportunities this year, of which he's won 2 of them, which is, yeah, pretty damn impressive. Fair play to aBeZy as well being up it, because we know that Surge have been good at search and destroy, but not good enough to get them too many more series wins that they've had so far. But that may change with 04 in the lineup. Of course, they play shortly. We'll discuss in a second. Jimbo, he's back. Well, he was back for approximately 6 hours. I don't really know. We talked about it yesterday morning, right? That Jimbo, having been banned for cheating after last year's Challengers World Championship, was now back in business and had been trying to hide it. I think it honestly reflects pretty badly on the guys that teamed with him or tried to team with him. And he was meant to play or was trying to play in the Challengers Cup, even going as far to call their team the Exiled, and Jimbo thought that he was going to be good to play. Look, honestly, if Jimbo decided to sign up under a new gamer tag and identity, people might not have known. They might have figured it out eventually, but I feel like he would have got away with it, right? Now, I'm not sure when he was initially banned, whether he was like fully hardware banned, although I'm not sure that necessarily would have mattered anyway, because it just, you know, get a new PC and get ready to go. But I at least had the assumption that Jimbo as a name would be banned from playing again, and certainly Jimbo the player, obviously it's the same thing, but, you know, what if he changed his name, came back as Lau or something else, then maybe he could kind of get away with it. So I'm just kind of mind blown that Jimbo tried to come back as Jimbo and thought that people weren't going to care or even notice. So, you know, Zenster says, COD League failing to speak about the situation when he got banned on LAN, because to be fair, that was true. Like, the league never really discussed it. Like, it was talked about, but it was never said, all right, yep, Jimbo officially banned, he's never coming back. Like Riot Games, for example, in Valorant, if someone breaks the rules or there's a cheating situation and someone needs to get banned, they will pretty usually do a public statement to say, hey, for these reasons, this player is banned for, you know, 2 years, 5 years, indefinitely, whatever it is, and they will do like a public statement on it. I don't think the league really did that when Jimbo was banned, and as is said here, they should do us all a favour and ban the cheater again from any type of competitive play. Get yourself another W, because, you know, the CDL, they've had one big dub over the last couple of days, and maybe that's going to continue, but as Spinner Spence says in the replies, no story here, he is simply not eligible to participate. So I'm guessing if we were still on the game battles days, or when the matches were still run on GB's MLG game battles, that's now shut down, rest in peace, then probably this wouldn't have been okay. But because FaZe have come in and run the show, they probably didn't know who Jimbo was, and therefore he kind of got away with it. But as soon as Spinner Spence became aware of this, I imagine he was on the phone to say, yeah, we ain't letting Jimbo compete. So that is not going to be happening, it seems, this weekend. Whether Jimbo tries again in challenges on another account, and then just hopes he doesn't get caught, I don't know, what a crazy story. But this esport is just built differently now. Like, you don't get this type of stuff elsewhere. Just quickly to note as well, Challengers, of course, underway, because trying to play in the Cup, so the Challengers Cup is back underway. We had Boston Academy versus FaZe back here. Just to note this scoreboard real quick, because FaZe back take the victory with BenJNissim on the roster. Purge is, and was, last year's Challengers World Champion for a reason. This guy is clearly a talented player, but this is why some players, they fry in challenges. They get up to the Pro League, it's not the same deal. You see this in any sport and esports you can possibly think of. Drivers, players, whatever motorsport or sport you want to say, that do well in the junior series or in the feeder series, and then bang, they get into the real deal, and it's not quite the same story. Not sure Purge's role wasn't as like a Slayer or anything, but here he is going 35 in 20 with 2 minutes in the hard point to get the victory. Awakening as well, notable on the other side, just because Yee's 2 real Cammy and Wake. That's interesting because there was a time when Cammy came down to challenges and he was kind of frying, and it felt to me like there was a pretty good chance that Boston might have put him in their starting team, or like Minnesota Rock assign him. They eventually got Gunless, Boston have got Beans, so Cammy's here on the academy, and yeah, Big Wake is now there as well, 39 and 28 for him. So just interesting to note here on the 6-star. We might see some 40 bombs here in professional play this season. There was also this spotted on the European side when 5 Media, so the Spanish guys, they get a clean win, and Super goes 87 in 40 for a 2.2 KD. Of course, Journey is now on this team as well after getting dropped by Heretics. So this is the thing. There are genuinely better Spanish players than Heretics have on their roster. They've brought ReeaL in, definitely a good decision. ReeaL seems to be the one player that doesn't really have beef with like the other Spanish. I may be wrong about this, but it feels to me that ReeaL is relatively well liked by both sides. But for some reason, there's like Super and Sukri and Ringcore, those guys, and then the guys that are actually on the Miami Heretics, and they don't necessarily get along, even though on paper you'd think that Miami Heretics could genuinely be more respectable than they are if they actually had the 4 best Spanish players in the world. But yeah, right now probably not quite the case, but you know, politics and other reasons make that be the case. Now, speaking of drama such as this, we've got to dive into what happened on the flag last night, because they obviously want to go through, before the weekend gets underway, all of the CDL announcements the other day, the big development on the team agreements, what it's going to mean for the scene going forwards. So, you know, they were discussing things. This was a hilarious moment as well here when Octane just decided to step up and walk away, because I do feel bad for Octane on these shows sometimes, right? Because this guy is trying to get his point across, and sometimes he just has to sit there and listen to the yapping for like 30 minutes and just bide his time. And a touch comes in and says, hey, like, Octane, what are your thoughts, you know? And he gives his thoughts for maybe 2 seconds, and then well, a certain BenJNissim decides to give his perspective on the situation. So all chaos is going on, of course, and I show a little bit of that, especially, you know, Eggs versus Ben and all this, as it usually is. But what was really entertaining was after the fact. Towards the end of the show, Scrappy, of course, comes along. He's been on there before. He's had a yap off with BenJNissim before as well. But as the show comes to a close, Scrappy just goes off on Ben and is like, look, you're ruining the show. I'm never coming on here again. I'm fed up with this BS.
Oh, yes, Ben. We don't care about what's going to happen in 6 years. I care about next year and the next year after that.
You know what? Enjoy. Like, if you're going to cut me off, I'm just
Ben,
going to
shut
leave,
up.
bro.
Stop.
Like,
Ben, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Baby, bro.
Man, don't Crybaby cheese him,
No,
though.
you're a fucking baby. You never let anybody talk.
Let go ahead.
Bro, Ben, you interrupt more people on this show than all of us combined,
yeah, and you
bro.
never
Go
say
ahead.
anything
Say your little
ever,
point
bro.
that's about the forest
You're
and
the one
the
that always
trees.
Crybaby cheese on the show.
Go ahead, Ben.
Bro,
Go ahead.
I have never cried baby cheese on this show once in my life, bro.
You guys are completely and utterly.
Say your point.
Go ahead, Ben.
Okay, you're gonna let me talk? You're gonna keep cutting me off. All right, thank you. Jesus Christ. Look, you guys are kind of missing the point. I don't think that there's some.
Ben, you need to lower your tone.
Scrap, shut up. Scrap, you're a
bro,
special guest.
No. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I hear it in his voice. I hear it in his voice. He's like high stress.
I'm really going
deep breath.
Bro, I hear you high stress. That's what I'm saying. I hear you high stress.
Like regardless of what way you spin it.
That's the way I'm looking at it, Chris. It's
Exactly.
just
Can I
So
ask a question?
yeah, of course.
go ahead.
Hey, Touch.
Hey, Dylan.
Sam, how
Dylan
do you
attached.
feel, how do you feel about this this topic that we have right now?
Bro, don't. Dude,
What do you-
get me started?
Wait, I just want to know Sam's input because he hasn't talked in like 30 minutes.
He
Sam,
can't
do
do
you-
that at all.
I got
Sam,
a
do
front
you
row
want
seat to the absolute fucking.
Sam, do you want expansion or not?
I knew this was gonna be a shit show tonight.
It's
bro.
never
I
a
knew
bad thing, dude.
I knew this was gonna be a shit show because like people are just. People are just not open-minded on this fucking show. Like they had bad experiences in the beginning of the CDL, and all they can think about.
Don't
is
say
that, and we're
people,
not-
bro.
I got
literally
paid
just
400
that.
grand. I gotta have a bad experience. That experience was
No,
great.
because you wanted to come in here and talk about
That
like,
experience was awesome.
obviously
What do you
we all
mean?
agree on, and it's like, bro, I just think we should support endeavors by stakeholders to try and create more opportunities, both opportunities for people in North America and Europe. But I also think we all agree that we want this esport to grow. We got to make it a more international esport.
All right, well, let's
Yo, Dylan, did you ask Octane or Ben?
He's gone. He's gone.
I think we cut the faded, bro.
Crashing out.
Yeah, let's cut the questions there. Hey, shout out to Scrappy. Shout out to Shotzzy for hopping in. I appreciate it. I owe Scrap 5. After that episode, I'll double it, Scrap. I'll give you 10 gifted after that. And then I have to double or something.
You're never going to catch me on this shit ever again, bro.
That's so fucking
bad. You're not catching me. I swear to God.
Absolutely.
I'll be honest, bro. Ben's the biggest bitch I've ever met in my life. Like, I'm
wow.
Talk about the guy
like, comment, and subscribe if you watch it on YouTube.
Getting the fuck off.
Forget that part. Forget that fucking part. I've had enough.
How long was that for you guys?
I have no idea. I have
Who
no
fucking knows,
idea.
but I'm getting the fuck off.
It was a shade over. It was like.
I have CTE. I'm fucking tweaking.
Bro, this is what I wanted us to make, bro. Like, we gotta like cut people off if they start rambling.
You're a fucking bitch.
You just gotta cut people off.
Bro, y'all, the problem with y'all.
You're a fucking bitch.
No, bro, y'all be getting too emotional.
What's
and you
CTE?
just hang up on it.
No,
You hang up on it and you argue.
Don't say we're getting emotional. Ben's a pussy. Ben's a big pussy.
Yeah,
You just whine. You just whine in my fucking ear. I'm not doing that.
Don't come on the fucking show. No one's.
I'm done. No, now I'm done. I don't give a fuck. I'm done with that.
What happened? What happened?
You're not coming on no more, Scott?
Hell no.
What happened? He's coming back on, bro. Let's just take a breather. It's not that serious, bro. It's not that serious, bro.
You think I give a fuck about that?
I don't even know what happened.
Bro, Ben, you
What
actually
happened?
think I give a fuck about any of it? I don't give a fuck. Like, what? What do you mean I'm starting to start drama? I don't give a fuck.
No, bro. This is. I've complained about this.
Like, you're just moaning my fucking ear.
Well, what happened? I'm so good.
I don't
am
know,
so
man.
confused.
I don't know what
like
happened.
literally.
Bro, we are crashing the fuck out,
We're
bro.
crashing out right now.
This comes back to the point like.
Grab first Ben. Extra science.
Bro,
I
this is
guarantee
OD
that
as
if you go
fuck,
and-
bro.
I want someone right now. Someone watching this, please go back.
Just
and
listen to
count
your
how
voice.
much
You're just
people
annoying
talk-
as fuck.
Oh, get the fuck out of this fucking call, dude. Fucking annoying, dude.
Dude, why'd you drag him out, bro? You gotta stop doing that.
Because I want to talk. Okay, I'm out of here, bro. No one's letting me talk. I'm just out of here, dude.
Go ahead, man. I'll talk to you
You're
later,
making
bro.
me
Go take a
tweak.
breather.
Have a
Go
good
take
night,
a
everybody.
breather.
OD, bro.
All right, later.
Go take a
Later, Brad. I
breather,
appreciate
bro.
hopping
Go
on.
take a fucking breather, bro. Go take a
Wow,
breather.
All right, later, boys. It was a good one. Thanks for
You're good, man. You're
thanks for
good.
showing up.
Later,
See you guys
Chris. Later, Chris. Later,
I'll see y'all
bro.
boys tomorrow. Have a good one.
Later.
Later, Pat.
Oh man, then it was just us, man. It was just us.
I've never been confused in my life. I have
cannot
never
tell
been
you
confused.
A single thing that I was said the last 2.5 hours.
Wait, I'm actually really
tell you
confused.
So people are always going to have thoughts on this, right? I think fundamentally you've got to understand nowadays that the flank is, if you view it as an entertainment show rather than like a serious analysis type of show that it used to be fair, like when it was Zuma and Ben and they'd bring on pros, sure, it was entertaining, obviously. But it used to be in the early days, you know, they would actually analyze the gameplay back in Cold War, when people kind of enjoyed that. Nowadays, maybe the game isn't quite as good or as competitive as it was in Cold War. I also feel like there's a trend among, you know, fan bases in sports in general, and I'm kind of part of this as well. So, you know, I don't know what you guys think about this question, but I know it's been debated before that fans often say, oh, you know, we want the analysis, we want the, you know, the gameplay breakdowns, the overview, like getting the guy up there with the whiteboard and pointing at, you know, like this arrow goes here, this arrow goes here when they're making a play, and that type of content can be interesting. But I just don't think that it's actually as engaging as people would like to believe. Like, often people that have tried to do analysis level gameplay breakdown style content, and it's not like it didn't work on the flank, but that kind of like in-depth stuff, fans often say, and I'm probably guilty of this as well, that they want that type of content, but what they actually watch is, you know, the drama, the personalities, and this type of stuff as well. So I think the flank has kind of trended in this direction now, where it's kind of less about the gameplay, and it's more about, you know, the opinions, the hot takes, the drama to some extent. And I think it makes sense. It does make for an entertaining show. People are always going to talk about Ben here and, you know, his opinions. Look, I think Ben is a very crucial part of the show. And I think without Ben, well, first of all, without Ben, you don't get moments like that, which are entertaining in the first place. I think Ben knows that to some degree. And, you know, people always discuss Ben's personality, the crybaby cheese and all this. And I feel like in this case, Ben does have to understand to some degree. And people are like, oh, they won't let him talk. It's like, look, at the end of the day, especially on opinions such as when, you know, the future of the league and stuff, when you've got pros like Scrappy, you've got former pros like OpTic and other guys in the call, I think generally the fans are going to be more interested in their perspective than they are in Ben. Not always the case, but certainly sometimes the case, and maybe Ben needs to recognize that at times. So, look, it was interesting, to say the very least. At the moment that OpTic had to step away, it's pretty comedy, and maybe this is going to continue throughout the remainder of the weekend. Scrap, of course, plays this weekend. We'll discuss in a second. Just wanted to mention this quickly. I actually wasn't aware this was getting made, but yeah, the Burger King cards are officially back. I know that Lineman said that he was going to do it. We had one previously from Xyz, and here is Assault, the Burger King of Major 2 2024. His actual KDs aren't so bad that it's just KD is irrelevant when it comes to the overall number here. It's more about where you are sitting in terms of kills per 10, damage per 10, and these numbers are ugly, like basically bottom of the league in most of these standings, or right down there. And so yeah, congrats to Adam Assault. They do not play today, but Toronto do. These are the games of the weekend, so 3 matches today, 3 tomorrow, 3 Sunday, starting with Subliners Carolina. A rematch of the series where Ravens knocked the New York Subliners out way back at Major 1, actually. But this is going to be interesting because Ravens probably needed that win against Surge last week. They didn't get it. Now they play New York. They should probably lose this series. But New York were not exactly comfortable in their victory against the Minnesota Rocket last week. But they will just get way more kills. So they're probably going to win, to be honest. Then OpTic versus Surge and Toronto versus Miami. It's kind of difficult to see too many other outcomes here. We'll see how Surge get on, certainly in the Search and Destroy. I'll be interested to see if they can, you know, if 04 plays well or something and they can keep winning searches, but probably OpTic 3-1 at a minimum. And then Toronto-Miami, we know that, well, Scrappy has talked some trash in the recent past on Spanish players, and maybe that's going to continue here. So probably a foregone conclusion today. We know the record of top 4 teams versus the rest, but, you know, there's always upset potential. So very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.